I'm a hockey player. Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues. Who are you Blues fan? We're bleeding blue with you. Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues.
BlueNote Fan Report. Aloha and mahalo. I am Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, and this is the BlueNote Fan Report coming to you on a after holiday Wednesday. Man, have I got a beef to talk about. Hey, E, how you doing? Welcome. Joining me at the moment is our buddy, our pal, Shagalicious. Hey, Shaggy.
How we doing, Guy?
What's up with the green sunglasses, man?
I just had to do that. It's pretty cool.
Just had to do that. Man,
all right.
We got to talk about something, and this is something that has chapped my ass for a long time, and it's happened now twice in the last week. This thing has happened, and when I spoke up about it, I got my ass chewed out for it, right? Which makes no sense, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Hey, Craig, how you doing? What I'm talking about is Vladimir Tarasenko and the stuff that has come out in the last 3 or 4 days. But I'm not also talking about that. I'm talking about Torrey Krug and the Kevin Hayes deal, right? With Torrey Krug and Kevin Hayes, the media released that this was a done deal before the GMs had a chance to go to their players. The media got a hold of it, released it, and it turned into a big hornswoggle. Okay, we kind of know what happened there, and now everyone's thinking that Krug's pissed off, da-da-da-da. You know, this is now something that's got to be dealt with. That should have never had to be dealt with to begin with, right? Then on Monday, and I'm not going to say who it was. I will not do that. Someone associated with The Athletic. Now, this is a reputable media member now, right? Put out a tweet about Tarasenko signing with Carolina. Now, the way she put it out was that he was close to signing. That's what she put out. She had also put out something saying that there were multiple teams involved. Well, what got taken from that was that he signed. And so many websites, a lot of websites, especially the quote-unquote, what I call junk websites, jumped all over this. And there are a couple of sites out there that are absolute junk. They will... I don't know all of them by name, and I'm not going to go out and name them, and I don't want you to even go look at them, right? I've seen them where they've actually taken somebody else's article, taken a few words out of it, and posted it as their own, right? This website posts Tarasenko fires his agent. That right over the headline, Tarasenko signs with a new team. Somebody used that site on a Facebook group and put out there, and I'm not going to say the name of who it is. It's neither here nor there. It doesn't matter. But he used it, and I came up and I said, hey, man, you should be careful using these. They're not reputable sites. They in some ways, when, they put this stuff up and we legitimize what's not legitimate, and it hurts guys like me. Well, a couple people took exception to that. It was really pretty bad. Craig says the same way the stuff about Tarasenko trade got started, it should not have been released to the media. I agree. I absolutely agree. Right? There's something in called journalistic integrity. You know what I'm talking about, Shaggy?
Somewhat.
Somewhat. What is one of the number one rules of any? I mean, this is rule number one before you ever release a story, especially one that has incriminating stuff in it. Right? Actually, I want to bring in my other guest, my boss, so to speak. Please welcome Jim Behringer from Full Press Hockey. Jim, I don't know if you've been hearing what I'm talking about. This goes with you, but it doesn't go with you, okay? I'm talking about what's happened in the last couple of weeks with media releasing things that probably shouldn't have been released. Number one, the Torrey Krug, Kevin Hayes deal. That got released long before the GMs even had a chance to talk to the players, caused a bunch of stir. On Tuesday, Monday, a reporter from The Athletic released a tweet about Tarasenko possibly signing with Carolina. Now, I will say this. First of all, I work for Full Press. I do articles for them, right? I'm saying this up. Full Press put out something, but they put out pretty accurate information saying that there were 6 teams involved and that this person said he was close to signing, and they left it at that. Didn't add anything else. A lot of other websites went out and posted that he signed. Right? When some of these junk sites, when people go and put out these and share these junk sites, you're legitimizing something that's not legitimate. And that is a point I was trying to make today, and I got torn up for making that point.
Yeah, it's it's interesting because being at the NHL draft, I put out some information about the Brinkett trade, but then I put the caveat out on it that we'll see what happens because things were percolating when you see GMs and you see scouts and you see information being passed around on the draft floor. Yeah. So look, I mean, things happen. Look, is Carolina one of his teams? Probably. I mean, narrow down the places he's going to go. He wants to stay in the metro area. Okay, there's the Devils, there's the Islanders, Ottawa's listed, the usual suspects, right? Yeah. He's changed agents. Again, it seems like it's leaning towards Carolina, but nobody really knows. This is why I'm very surprised that it's not done today. If this continues to linger and this continues to go into next week, we have a story to talk about. My expectation is this thing gets done by Friday, and then we're going to be out for a while and looking.
I don't know. Dumbo. I think with him firing his agent, this process starts over again. I don't think he was happy. Go ahead, Shag.
I think we have to look at this in a certain light, and that is we have to go back to the beginning to what happened with Tarasenko, and you have to realize that it goes to way deeper. So basically, if Tarasenko re-signs with the Rangers, the pick that the Blues gets moved up.
No.
Right?
No, it stays. The pick was contingent on them making the playoffs.
Oh, is the playoffs? Okay, so my bad. Either way, him re-signing with the Rangers was something the Rangers wanted in general. Okay, that was something the Rangers want. The problem is they have no money. Yes. They went out, they re-signed a bunch of players at pretty much not that much money. And they do have some money available, but they do have Miller and Lafreniere to have to figure out. And you may not want to use up all that cash on a guy like Tarasenko when you have Miller and Lafreniere around. Now, I think Tarasenko went out there. Carolina offered a deal, and it fell through for whatever the reasons were. And Tarasenko felt that it was his agent's fault. Now, we obviously felt, whoever let it out obviously felt this was pretty much confirmed. And that's why they let it out. That's where I think the problem with the media.
Well, hold on. I want to stop you there real quick. Right? And the reason I'm doing this, because this is important here. One person put it out. There was no second source. There was not 2 sources of information. Tim, when you put out the stuff, and I'm asking you this question, please, if I upset you, I apologize, but this is important to me. So please Forgive me if I'm upsetting you, okay?
You are not upsetting me. This is
I'm not
Okay.
upset.
This is sports.
When you put out the DeBrincat, did you hear it from more than one source?
I did. I was actually,
Okay.
and I can't reveal who they were.
And I don't want you to. I just want to know that you had two sources.
I did, but
Right?
like I said I put the caveat, and I can send you the tweet, and somebody can find it.
I seen it. I
Yeah,
read it.
I said we'll see what happens, because it's a changing environment. And look, to me, the biggest winner of the weekend and last week, and Shadow agree with me, is the salary cap. I mean, he even mentioned it. The Rangers have no money. Like,
Yeah.
if you saw Friday, it turned into the NFL. Like, literally, the NHL became the NFL with all the guys not being qualified, the buyouts, because teams are just trying to find money. Like, there's literally no money available for anybody because the cap only went up $1 million. Now, regardless
that's not completely true. There's money, but the teams that have the money are the teams that they don't want to play for.
Well, Guy, let me ask you: did you follow baseball?
Yes.
This feels so much to me like the Aaron Judge situation.
I don't know that situation completely.
I do. I do know that situation.
Okay, then go ahead.
Exactly that. Isn't this exactly that?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much there was a report. And I'm a huge Yankee fan. And I woke up to the text Aaron Judge to the Giants. And the first reaction I had is this is going to be a garbage day. Okay. I thought I'm done. Yankees are going to have to like trade who knows who just to get themselves a star. At the end of the day, they landed up signing for actual cheap deal. I think the same is going to happen here. A deal went out that wasn't going to happen. He's going to land up signing a 1-year okay deal with the team just to be on them, whether it's the Rangers, whether it's maybe the Hurricanes, if that's from the beginning. And crazy enough, I could even see a team like the Capitals or something like that trying to step in.
What about the Senators? What about the Senators? Because he's been linked there a lot too. Because
again, is that a team that you can win with?
Like that. I don't think the Senators could use a veteran at that age. They need to stay to the young side.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think they're just trying to see what they can do with the Brinket, to be honest. Because to me,
going to the Islanders.
The Islanders or Detroit. I think that's where he ends up.
The Gauthier signing is what got me that they're probably trying to run after DeBrincat, because what are you going to keep Gauthier out of the lineup as like in that fourth line or something like that? The guy's he's a third liner, and he's a piece that they haven't had in a long time with his speed and his driving to the net ability. So I think adding in DeBrincat is like sort of a completion with that, and they're going to trade Clutterbuck.
The one thing that I don't want to get lost in this was the purpose of this discussion. The purpose was the junk websites. This website that this person shared that put out about Tarasenko firing his agent, put that headline over the headline, Tarasenko signs with new team.
Well, he didn't sign yet, and he's still out there.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at. Everybody took that one, so many people took that one tweet and flipped it around to me, and I seen so many things where it said he signed, never signed. I seen so many memes. Tarasenko signed to Carolina. All of this. What I'm trying to get at is when people use those junk websites that do not follow journalistic integrity, and no, Jim, I am not calling full press that. I know we follow journalistic integrity. I saw the look on your face. I'm not calling full press a junk website.
I'm just cracking my neck. My neck's a little stiff. I'm not rolling my eyes. Trust me.
No, I've had this one for a while. This is the same one that just they adjusted for me.
The media sucks. I'm gonna lay that out in general. The media stinks. Nothing against you, Jim. I'm not discussing like that. The media stinks when I'm even talking about Kevin Weeks. He's great. He's fantastic on his own. But in the general media, okay? In the general idea of media, we portray things that are just – I remember listening to the ESPN, when they were announcing the Rangers game, how much negativity they brought to certain things on the Rangers side and the Devils side. And there was a certain amount of negativity that you did not have to bring. As well as I also found that there was an amount of that media likes to play with their things and put out stuff in order for that, I know that they do these things where like they want another team to up their offer. So they say like, oh yeah, we've been talking on a deal or something like that. And they do that so the other team, it's a whole game. And the teams leak things on purpose. How about this? Maybe the Hurricanes, right? It fell through. He fires his agent. The Hurricanes still want Tarasenko, but are afraid it's going to go out. So they get someone to announce it. That way, Tarasenko drops his agent. You know, you don't even know what goes on there in the back ways over here.
Yeah.
You don't know who leaked it and why. And at the end of the day, the media is so deep because there's so many people out there who are the reporter for this team and knows everything that people just go ahead and just say what they want. And they heard something and couldn't confirm it. And like Guy, you know, when I remember Tarasenko got traded to the Rangers, Guy was hesitant to even agree until he saw a bunch of different things. Now we were all laughing.
I didn't agree. I didn't until it was put on NHL.com. I went through, and I was live. I was live when it happened.
What do you mean? I grabbed you, Guy. As soon as I saw the first thing, I grabbed Guy. I said, "Emergency right now. We have to start something. We got to talk about this." And we started talking about this, but we didn't say it's confirmed until I think about 20 minutes into the thing where we said it was
until it showed up on NHL Network. What I'm getting at is that when you're out there, when you have a right to go read whatever website you want. And I had this is how how I was trying to acknowledge, you know, when you go out to the grocery store, right? When you go to the grocery store and you're getting ready to check out, you go up and you see all these magazines, right?
You mean the hot sheets?
What?
I said the hot sheets.
Yeah, the hot sheets. Yeah, the hot sheets. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
The hot sheets.
You see all these hot sheets, right? One of them in particular is the World. The World has all kinds of sensationalized headlines. 99% of what the World puts out there is fake. Okay? Absolutely fake. Right? Let's put out and say that there was and when you see these headlines, I've seen something that took me away. Sorry. When you see the headlines, you don't go all of a sudden and tell all your friends, "Oh man, Katy Perry did this according to this," or "Somebody did this," or "Aliens landed here." Whatever. You don't. You just bypass it, right? Let's say there was a hockey world that did the exact same thing. If you went up and seen all this stuff, would you take it and go, "Oh my God, this person signed, this person's going to sign here, that person's going to sign here, this or that, this and that"? Would you? You probably wouldn't. Well, why is it that we go to these websites that are basically the World and immediately share this stuff without taking a dive into what's on that website to begin with? If a website is 95% ads, you should never share it. That's how I feel.
Look,
right?
I will say this. I agree with you on certain sites. I will agree with you that you shouldn't be going to them. Like my friends reference a lot of these pages.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, why are you guys following this stuff? Like half of it's just nothing. It's just them writing up something that they saw on Twitter, which we all agree we know what we saw, and it has no truth to it. And if you guys want to talk about it, I can give you the information, or so-and-so can give you the information. There's legit people to follow, and then there's not. If you're following the right, look, I'm not saying not everybody, is quote unquote the blue check mark. A lot of us have sources and built our ways into this business. And I'm one of them. Lucky enough to be on the draft floor, doing what I did last week. But to me, I will not do anything until I have 2 confirmed sources, or I've been told it multiple times about something that's going to go down. And the day that the Tarasenko trade happened, 2 people texted me right before it happened. They're like, "Yo, he's going to New York." And I was like, "Oh, really? Is this really going to happen?" And then like 2 seconds later, I saw it on Twitter. I was like, "Oh, okay. This is how it's going to go. This is how we're going to go down here today." But Guy, I agree with you. There's like you see it all the time on Facebook. Shad's seen it too. Like the same, you know who these people are. There's legit places, and then there's not legit places. And Jim, just got to be smart.
How much are you on Twitter? How often?
I'm there.
I'm on it every day.
Almost every day, yeah. Right now, it's turned back a little bit. I'm just waiting for the Tarasenko news to come through. Really.
Well, I'll tell you this much. Okay, I'm pretty often on it, and what's interesting is that there's a lot of people on Twitter, and this is something that I know, like Twitter wants to make all these rules of viewing and all that, but I just hate the fact that it's constant where there's fake people on Twitter. You have constantly news going around that's fake, and people use Twitter as the main thing of news. I believe they should be taking off any sports news from Twitter, and there should be making a sports Twitter idea in which you cannot comment on these things, but when the trades come out and they're official, anything, all sports, doesn't matter the sport or whether it's news, you cannot comment on it. It is a news piece. It goes out. You could read it, and that's it, right? Because in those situations, you're not going to have people faking because you're automatically, in a sense, verified. You got to
keep it from being retweeted, right?
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
You could sign up either as a reader or a company. As a company, you're going to be checked into if you are legit someone that reports legitimately. You have to have credentials or, show something like that. Then you'll be able to post. Otherwise, you're signed up no matter what. You're not having Donald Trump or whoever, Joe Biden or whoever, doing an account because it's not a person. It has to be a legit reporter or something like that doing their reporting. It's not for talking. It's not for comments. It's for either news and for headlines. That's it. That's all it has to be. Something happens, and that's all
I'm
it
with
is.
you.
And you could read it, and you could find out your news, and you could copy it and send it to somewhere. But that's it. You can't do anything besides that, because what that will do is take away the entire media's problem of people faking and putting out stupid news when they don't know what's going on. And you know what? I'll give you another example. The whole Rickard Rakell thing that happened at the trade deadline 2 years ago. You're gonna tell me
when he didn't move his no trade clause.
Exactly. The news came out that he was traded. Okay? That news piece, whatever came out there, was so premature that I think that's what messed up the NHL. They could have just simply kept it quiet and said the trades to the Penguins. And then 10 years later, we get like a great story from one of the players from Ricard saying what happened. That's how it even used to be because we didn't have social media.
Yeah, we didn't know. It felt like we were going to go that way on Saturday when rate limit exceeds viewing, whatever. It was like, oh, man, am I going to actually have to read this stuff on Sunday? Because, like, Twitter's down and it's not working and we have all these rules. But I agree with you. Like, and again, Guy's point with the Blues, it's like, yeah, Kevin Hayes, was he being traded to St. Louis? Yeah. Did we know the defenseman? No, but we knew he had a no trade clause. And you got to ask that player first.
Yeah, but did you think about, because that got released early, but all these other players, right?
Well, it was going to be.
It destroyed the trade. It destroyed that trade.
Well, it was good. Sanheim was going to go back to St. Louis. And then like all this BS came out, like third team involved, like somehow Krug was going to New Jersey. I'm like, and then I checked in with it. It was like, Krug's never coming here. Who's coming up with this stuff? Like, I was like, no.
I'll tell you who. Who's coming up with it. It's a bunch of fans. They love to come up with things. It's the same way.
Well, I'll tell you something.
Patrick landed up on the Rangers because the fans pushed it so much.
My show got hacked a while back, and I had somebody who was sending me messages consistently telling me, "Oh man, I know about this this big trade coming up. It's going to be a blockbuster." Da 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 da. I blocked him out because I knew he was full of it. Right? There's too many out there that don't know that these guys are full of it. And put them out. And I know a Blues guy that put something out that came from one of these guys. And I'm not going to say what he put out, but it made him look really, really bad because he put something out that was a total joke. And I knew it from the moment he put it out. My biggest point is, if you're out there looking at websites, looking at memes, take your time and pay attention to what you're posting and make sure that it's from a legitimate source. That's where I'm at.
But can we establish though is that the biggest problem with the media over here especially is the Twitter aspect of it, because the news is not being put on any any news thing. It's not coming out as an article. It's not coming out only on NHL. It's coming out on Twitter. We're using a chatting site to establish news. You're going to have problems that way. I don't understand why it's coming out on Twitter. Twitter was not created to tell you news and headlines. It was meant to be able to create, you could say, your little brain farts to each other and get whatever else you want out to your other people, okay? That's all it's for. Now you're going out and using it for Kevin Weeks to put out his little video with just his eyes on the bottom of a screen telling me
breaking news, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And the breaking news happened 3 minutes before he put out the video.
Exactly.
We all knew about it.
Yeah.
So at this point, he might as well put it on TikTok because no one's at this point. That's all he's doing. There is no purpose in the idea of what he's having. So if you're trying to put out news, if you're trying to put out an entire thing, look, Twitter is fine. I don't mind the news being put on it. But that can't be the main source for putting it out. You could have it there. I don't mind. You want to put out your news, this person was traded, that person was traded, great. But with the way Twitter is being used to find my news between all my other lines of some guy telling me Blues should trade for Connor McDavid, it's not exactly what is interesting. And the Kevin Hayes thing was even worse in a sense because the Kevin Hayes thing was happening. And you could have very easily just established it in a little more sense, like, okay, he is being traded, but we don't know what it is. Oh, wait,
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think in the long run, he did get traded, but there's a chance. Now, let's put it this way. Let's put it you're in Philly's hands, right? And this whole after all this breaks and the Krug invoking his no trade clause and being upset and all of this. I mean, if Philly didn't have to trade Hayes, would they have still traded him, especially for just a 6th-round pick?
They wanted him gone. They
wanted him gone. But that's the only reason that trade goes through. If they didn't want him gone, this trade, because of the media breaking it way too soon and not having all the deals and facts in place, could have destroyed that deal. Hey, Wendy, I know you're here, man. I'm sorry for talking over you, bud.
Yeah, that's fine.
But you got an opinion on all this, Wendy?
Yeah, it's completely fine.
No, I mean, you have an opinion on all of this? What we're talking about?
My services drop out.
He's not hearing me. Okay.
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, that trade probably could have been destroyed. But we all knew Kevin Hayes was getting traded. We just didn't know for what and for when and when he was going and how it's like. Look, for me, I will say this. I never put it out there, but I always speculated. When Ivan Barbashev was doing what he was doing for Vegas after the trade deadline, I said, Vegas will do, these were my exact words everywhere. I said, Vegas will do everything in their power to keep this guy. And that was all I said, because that was just me stating an opinion. Because if you looked at their track history and their history of how they handled players, they're going to keep their players and the guys that they want to keep, because Kelly McCrimmon finds a way. Don't tell me it can't be done, because they always find a way to do it. So those are my words on the Barbashev thing. I was like, I'm giving my opinion. I'm telling you, they're going to find a way to keep this guy.
And I get that, but see, you used opinion.
Right, exactly. But I also
you didn't put it out there as a fact.
No. Well, what I'm saying is what I would say is like somebody asked me about Barbashev, and I'd be like, well, I think, if I'm in their position, I'm doing everything in their power to keep him.
But that's different than when things get put out, the way it got put out, and then everyone jumps on it with single source. That was the thing. That was the only person that I saw put it out, and then every other thing that I saw after that referenced that original tweet. There was not two sources with this. Well, and then so I kind of waited. I figured, maybe they jumped the gun. Maybe he'll sign tomorrow. He'll sign, I thought maybe he'd sign Thursday or Tuesday or this morning.
He wasn't.
And then this morning it comes
Tuesday.
out.
He wasn't signing. Nobody was signing Tuesday.
There was one signing on Tuesday. I do remember there was one.
But Tarasenko wasn't signing on the 4th of July.
But then I come back, and this morning you hear he's fired his agent, right? and hired a new one.
To me, his firing of the agent is simply because I think he's not sure what he wants. And I think his agents were just taking every single deal and just throwing it at him. And especially because I do not think that, in my opinion, I do not think he would have done well with the Hurricane. I know that others might disagree. I do not think he would have done well. Just they were giving him a nice $5.1 million. He denied, and this is interesting, according to reports, okay, he had teams between 5.5 million to 6 million range, including an offer from the Hurricanes, and he rejected them all. This is according to Larry Brooks. Again, is Larry Brooks getting this 100%? We can't, we can't judge. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, if you go by what he's saying here, I'm guessing there's at least 3 or 4 teams that offered him 5.5 to 6 million, and he said no to all those teams.
Well, let me put it to you this way.
What does that tell you? But guys,
here's the thing with Carolina.
Oh, I know. What does that tell you when he now fires his agent?
Yeah, he wants more money.
Is it more money, or is it more money, or is it that he's not with the teams that he does want to go to? They're not. With the teams that he does want to go to, the agents are not working well with them. For example, maybe the Rangers were not one of those teams, and he wants to come back to the Rangers.
And maybe he wants it on maybe he even wants to go lower than 5 million.
Exactly. Look, the Rangers. No, it's not a joke, guy. Imagine he says to the Rangers, "Look, I want to be a Ranger," and his agents were telling him the whole time, "You could get yourself 5, you could get yourself 6, you could get yourself more," and he was probably not agreeing with them and saying, "Look, I want to go to a team where I feel I can win it and I'm going to do well." He wanted to be New York. He waived a no trade clause to be in New York. I feel like the Rangers and Tarasenko do have a mutual agreement that they would love to have him. But the money situation isn't great there. Okay, so then why not? Why not work that out? Well, maybe our agent said to him, well, the Rangers are not giving you the money. Take these deals. And they spoke to only the teams that were higher money. And he said, okay, you're not my agents. I want someone who's going to work for my benefit. And it's because they make money. Remember, they make money. The agents make a certain amount of money off from how much he makes. So therefore, they're not going to go ahead and want their $2 million from the Rangers. They don't want that. They're not getting as much money. They want the $5, $6, $7 million deal. So guess what? They're going ahead and going to those teams. He says, get out of here. I'd rather an agent that's going to go ahead and work with the teams and my benefit. I want a $2 million deal to be with the Rangers. That's what you're going to have to accept. And so therefore he went, and I don't know exactly those people well, but look, I'd be very happy to tell a guy like Tarasenko, we'll give you that much money. In 10 seconds, I would love Tarasenko back. The other option is because he's maybe wanting lower money and there's other teams available, maybe he is interested in the Hurricanes deal or whatever it is, but he wants less money and the agents are not exactly liking that because he wants a shorter deal because he also feels that if it's not doing well, he could always move. The second he's bought into a contract and he's traded mid-season, he's not going to like it as much. So he'd rather go to a team at the beginning of a season for 1-year deal, get the money he's happy with, and try to win something. The same way as I think that Pacioretty went to the Hurricanes and did that. The same reason why I feel like there were other players that went
Orlov.
Yeah, Orlov to them. Orlov to the Bruins and things like that, where they agreed to
Hoffman to the Blues a couple years ago.
Came to the Rangers. He wasn't going to go to any team. Only to the
Look
Rangers.
at the agent Tarasenko joined now.
Right,
He joined Pat Brisson, who's he's honestly the one agent you want to have if you want to end up in any team you want to go to. Just look at what he did with Patrick Kane. Pat Brisson is the same agent as Patrick Kane. He's the same agent as Claude Giroux, and look what he was able to do for those two players alone in trade deadline, and then Claude Giroux in free agency last year. He's going to an agent who's going to get crap done. I don't know exactly who his former agent was, and now he is going to
the Breadman's agent. Right?
Okay,
this is his third agent. He
That's
originally
not
had
good.
Mike Liut.
No.
He originally had Mike Liut. fired Mike Liut when he could with the stuff came up with Hoffman and the shortened COVID season, not being on the top line, the stuff with his injury and that. He went to Panarin's agent. That's when all the Ranger stuff started, when he signed with Panarin's agent, and that's when the trade rumor stuff started. And then this stuff. And I want to address something real quick, guys, before we go on. I'm seeing comments. I'm ignoring them. Right now, I think we have a good discussion going on. If the comments were part of this discussion, I would say them. But right now, they're trying to go in a direction that I'm not ready to go in. So that's why I wanted to say that. My whole thing is I'm asking people to look at what you share and take a step back before you share something. Right?
Yeah, double check it. Do you want to really hit send? As Herm Edwards would say, do you really want to hit send? Like, look, for me, and this will be my final point because I'm going to jump off after this and just chill. I'm going to just say, look, there's a great community out there. Jags hit the point. When guys work for certain companies, they want to make names for themselves. They want to do certain things. I feel like, Kevin Weeks, before he joined ESPN and did all that stuff, he was kind of like, he was a good dude. Not saying he's still not a good dude, but he seems to be this, corporate sellout a little bit here and there when he just throws things out there. Just follow the right people, be smart, have the facts verified, and, just be vigilant of fake accounts, fake things, because there's so much information out there. There's a lot of disinformation. And you gotta just be able to differentiate what's real and what isn't. And right now, there's a lot of misinformation about Tarasenko and where is he going, what's he doing. Again, there's a lot of stuff going on about Carlson. Is he going this guy? Who knows? Nobody knows except. Look, I will say this.
No one has what's going to make the Sharks happy for him. So
exactly. Well, and here's the thing. Kevin Cheveldayoff, Mike Greer, and Pierre Dorion don't have to move these players because we're talking about it, because people on Twitter are saying they need to be moved. They will wait, like Joe Sakic waited with Matt Duchene, and will make the deal when they want to make the deal, and the deal is right.
Same thing with Armstrong last season.
Exactly.
Jim,
exactly.
Before you go, I want to give you a chance to tout the website and my article.
Check out fullpresshockey.com. Guy just put up an amazing story about a game back in 2017-18. We're able to had a chance to get that up. Everybody's loving it. Please check it out. My work's up there as well. Little tidbit. I gave our Sens guy, Murray Pam, a little information about Travis Hamonic when I was talking with Pierre Dorion before the deal got into place, that said that he was going to be coming back and there was a deal to be made. I just didn't know the numbers, and obviously Hamonic signed, and here we are. But again, check out fullpresshockey.com. Guy does an amazing job covering the St. Louis Blues and everybody else that does great work there. And I'm so happy to be a part of it, and I'm so happy guys are part of it as well.
Well, I greatly appreciate that. And you know what? Maybe this season I can think about doing a weekly show for you guys, a Full Press Blue show. Don't know yet because I don't want to take anything away from the Blue Note.
Absolutely. No, it's great. It's good to jump on here, talk some hockey with you guys, and I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their evening.
Thanks, Jim. Have a good one, bud.
Good to meet you, buddy.
Good to talk to you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jim. Well, that was pretty good. So now I'll kind of open things up to the fans, but I'm going to say this directly. If your comments are not about hockey and they need to be intelligent comments. If they're trade McDavid for a 5th-round pick, I'm not going to put that stuff up. Important, good stuff I will put up and we will talk about. Does that sound fair there, Shags?
Yeah, I mean, we just had one of the most interesting conversations I've ever had in hockey, and there was no reason this entire show should go downhill. So nobody. Sometimes the story is correct, but still on a site that isn't always correct. Well, it also depends what happened. I think you also have to look at each situation separately. I think that as time goes on, I think if there's any sport that will step into this situation, it'll be hockey. NFL, baseball, and basketball has been overblown by who knows what else. I've never seen them really get things done in a sense. Baseball a little bit, but hockey has really taken care of a lot of things. So I gotta expect them to take care of it at a certain point.
Dean, I think is going to be a solid player for the Blues. I know he had some issues at the prospect camp because of his gear. Got lost in the route and he had to borrow skates or something. But I really do like him. I think he's going to be a player. Matlow says he impressed at his first Blues prospect camp. See what happens at training camp. I agree with that. Ryan says, I know there was an interview saying he and Bolduc are soon to be ready, and the doubles acts could be ready very close. Right? I do agree with that.
So is St. Louis and New York both doing on ice workouts for the prospect tournament, like prospect camps that they're doing right now for all teams?
St. Louis already did.
So they did on ice. Okay.
New York
The Hawks were I guess the only team in the NHL to not have a single on ice practice for their prospects.
They cannot risk any injury at all because they are not they're not a deep enough team where you're just going to take some rookie who's way too early to hey, look, I'm good. I chose this background because of my lighting. I wanted to my lighting was a little off with me, so I chose a dark background. And also right now it's sort of I was trying to find the right background for, off season. Anyways, they can't risk anyone getting hurt because their team is just not deep enough, and you're not going to put out a guy that's not ready onto the opening roster. It's just not how it works. While the Rangers and other teams have a deep enough roster where they could just do that. You know what I mean?
I will add to it. The Hawks came out saying they don't want to do on ice activities for the prospect development camps they do because they learn from past history of players getting injured during it, and it's ruining the future season for the prospect because last year they had the on ice play and Frank Nazar came in and he already had an injury and he went on ice and then messed it up worse, had surgery, missed the majority of the college season for Michigan last year.
Here's a decent question. Who are the top prospects for the Blues and the Ranger systems right now? Shaggy, you want to go with the Rangers?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you go through the Rangers prospects for 2023, you have obviously Brendan Othman, who, if you guys want to know of a guy who I absolutely cannot figure out why he has, this is a guy they're taking so much time with because the Rangers have been doing so well. You're going to see him up later this year. Brendan Othman's going to be up. He was a 2021 first-round pick, 16th overall. I think that's where actually some of the better picks get chosen because at the top 10, you overlook some guys, as the Ducks will realize when they didn't take Fantilli. But Will Coy is as well. He's a 2020 second-round pick, 60th overall. He also very possibly could be up. He's a little behind. And I think the other three top ones are Adam Sikora, Matthew Robertson, and Zach Jones. We saw Zach Jones already up. Matthew Robertson might show up in the middle of this year. Adam Sikora was drafted in 2022, second round. So he's got a while. In my opinion, Gabriel Perreault that they drafted this year is going to go flying up the rankings because of his skill and IQ. He's going to go up.
That's who I wanted the Hawks to draft, to be honest, if they were to move back up.
Well, if there's one guy that you need, in my opinion, in New York was IQ guys. There's too many guys who were just, let's say great skaters, great shooters or something like that, and not a guy who's smart on the ice. I look at really good teams. I look at the Vegas Knights, and I looked at guys like Stone and Eichel, and these guys are really great ice hockey IQs. And Panarin's the only guy in the Rangers with somewhat of a great IQ, but there's little things that you have to know that you really have to get. Like that's what one thing Tarasenko really brought and Kane brought when they brought him in. but it wasn't at the right time bringing them in. But those are the top guys. Othman will definitely, in my opinion, be on the roster this year, and he's going to be a really, really good player. Do not think he'll ever be like a top 2 line guy, like scoring 30 goals a game, 30 goals a season. But
30 goals a game. Show me that player.
Connor McDavid will do it for you. But he will be up there. He'll do pretty well. He's going to be pretty good.
For the Blues, I think it's Bolduc and Snugard. I think Bolduc's probably the closest to NHL ready. Snugard is right there, though. I know I can see Bolduc challenging. The Blues have a center spot open on the lineup coming up. They really only have 3 centers, right, on their roster. So they have a center lineup. So I could see one of these guys possibly pushing that envelope and getting some time, especially early in the season, maybe more early in the season or later in the season. So I could see either Bolduc or Snugard coming up. The other one,
Snugard's not going to come up unless you're at the end of a season or a middle season and it's going and it's and it's injuries and you just need to bring up someone, because I don't think he's necessarily ready right away. And I don't think he's going to be ready for sure not the beginning of the year, because I think that if he was ready, he'd be on the opening roster. So I don't think he's going to be up unless there's injuries.
The one thing with the Blues with so look, I know that I think outside the box sometimes, and some of the stuff I say is hot takes or whatever, and I get that. But I look at the Blues and I just see a lack of direction. And because of that, because I see that and I feel that, I could see guys that may not be quote unquote NHL ready in our eyes getting a chance sooner than they should. That's how I see it. Could I be wrong? Absolutely, I could be wrong. But there's just some things I see out there that could. And then you got to look. The Blues have 2 forwards that could easily get traded like that. I mean, like that, and any time between now and January. And that's Varnub and the other guy we got at the. I can't think of his name now. I'm blanking out. The other guy we picked up at the trade deadline. Though I think before we. I think he's the one that we pulled. Kapanen. There you go. Thank you. Kapanen. Those 2 guys, huh?
Kapanen?
Yeah, Kapanen. Right? Those 2 guys, they're expendable. They're absolutely expendable, especially if they start having good seasons. If Varnum and Kasparov come out, I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong. Varna and Kasparin come off. Kapanen, I'm sorry. I'm terrible with names. It's a bad thing with me.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to help you out.
I know you are, and I appreciate it. I know some people in the chat might be calling me an idiot or whatever, but I'm horrible with names. I appreciate the help. But those 2 guys, they're expendable, and if they start having decent seasons, they're gone. They're gone for high picks, and then you're going to have that open space, and some of these guys that may or may not be NHL ready could see time, and that's what I see happening, right? Sorry about that there, Craig. Right, I apologize, man. I just, sometimes with names, I just get really, the one of the problems I have is my time in the service. You never said anybody's full last name. I was never Bensing. It was always Ben. It was always Ben, right? The only time I got Bensing was when I was in trouble, like your mom calling you by your middle name. Right, there's an old time reference there. And by the way, if you're watching on Facebook, don't forget to put that thumb in the air, man. I only got 3 likes. Got likes from Craig Moss, John Hefner, and Tammy Pemberton. Thank you so much. Hoping we get some more. What about you guys, Wendy? What do you see you guys doing beginning of the year with some of your prospects? Do you see, and I'm being dead serious, and if I'm an idiot, I'm an idiot. Do you see Connor Bedard playing more than 9 games?
Yes.
You think at the age of 17, they would waste a year of his Well, he hasn't even signed a contract yet, but they would waste a year of his professional time,
Yes.
right?
The Hawks will play Connor Bedard all season. I can see midway through the season they let him play for Team Canada and the World Juniors if he stays healthy. But the Hawks will play Connor Bedard all season. On the other hand, for our second-ranked prospect, that 19-year-old defenseman Kevin Korchinski, who is the fifth-ranked best defensive prospect in the NHL. We drafted him 7th overall last year with the Ottawa pick. I would say he gets his 9-game tryout this year, play maybe 20 games, and then the Hawks will send him back to the juniors. The Hawks are not. This is how the Hawks are planning anything. They don't care if they burn a year of a player's contract. Sometimes it's more beneficial for the team to burn a year of the contract because it gets them closer to signing that same player to their next level contract, and it could be at a cheaper term. Like, for instance, with Connor Bedard, it's going to be more expensive because Connor Bedard should be, if he projects to play the way how he's looking to be, the Hawks will be paying a lot of money with Bedard. Players like Kevin Korchinski, it could be a different story. Lucas Reichel, the Hawks burnt a year of his contract, of his ELC. After this season, he's an RFA because his ELC's up, because the Hawks burnt a year of it by playing him for giving him his 9-game tryout, letting him play his 10th game. Then they sent him back down to Rockford. And then last season, he played the majority of the season in Rockford up until the trade deadline. And then they sent him back down to Rockford for a playoff push for the Ice Hogs. The Hawks are not worried about burning a year of an ELC.
Okay, I get it. I want to address this. He says, Journey says, if you're moving those guys, then you're moving Buchnevich and Shen too. Well, you know what? There's a problem with that, bud. And I don't. And look, I get what you're saying here. Problem is, Shen has a full no trade clause. I don't think Shen is waiving. Buchnevich has a 15-team no trade clause, so he might be easier. Problem is, the teams that would probably not be on his list. The teams that he couldn't go to are teams that don't have the money, and you may not be able to get enough out of them back to cover what he's going to. That's where I see the issue. I look at both, and I'm going to kill it again, Varna and Kapanen. Varana and Kapanen. Did I say that right? Kapanen. They are on 1-year deals that are about to expire. They don't have no trades. They are much easier to move. And we have just seen what happens when a guy has a no trade clause and he decides to invoke it. We've talked about this at length if you haven't been here before. That's just how I feel. Which defenseman is on the move for the Blues? You know what? That's a good question. However, it's none. Right? The only one that you could possibly move is Scandella, but I think Scandella's hurt. Bortuzzo's got 2 more years. They look at him being here for another year that has a 6th, 7th defenseman. If Scandella's hurt, he's going to go down. Basically, right now, I see Scandella being hurt. I see Bortuzzo, Brunovich, and, oh, man, my head is slipping on me. The other guy that they just Tucker. Those 3 guys going between the 6 and 7 spot. Right? That's how going those 3 guys doing 5, 6, and 7. If Scandella is hurt. Right? I mean, that's kind of how I see it. Could be wrong. But I think Armstrong is a much more Armstrong looks at the money a lot more than people think he does. Negative, full no contract. The partial, but the full no trade is in now. I just looked. Let me double check that. I want to double check to make sure I'm not wrong on this. Shin, no trade clause. Starting July 1st, 2025, player submits a 15-team no trade list. So I think he's tradable up to that point, or not tradable up to that point. I could be wrong. Right? But that's the way I read it. I may read it wrong.
No, you're right.
That he's not tradable until he hits that point, right?
Correct. But if he does get traded, he had to request and accepted going to the team that he was traded to. That's how that works.
So Shin's no trade kicks in, is there now. It doesn't. He's full no trade until 25. In 25, he submits a list. That's how I read it. I could be wrong, but that's how I read it.
Does half your guys' roster have no move, no trade clauses on their?
We don't have no moves. We have a lot of no trades. We don't have anybody with the no move, right?
I'm just saying in general because it's pretty much the same concept, but if you know what I'm coming at.
The no movement is more for expansion, right? If a draft like that comes up, and it also prevents you, the no movement also prevents you from being waived.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be waived with the no movement. With the no trade, you can still be waived.
Yeah.
So there is a difference there to what can happen.
The no move clause has more power, but it's still the no trade and no move does have a concept that are related where I'm coming at.
Well, so I've talked at length, Craig. I've talked at length about the Petro situation, and I'll say this, and I put this out there before. I know there are guys out there that absolutely love Berube. I think that there's a locker room mutiny or partial mutiny with Berube. There are signs to me that there are guys that have screwed the Blues over. And I think I have three of them right off the bat, and Petro's one of them. Petro knew all along he wasn't staying in St. Louis. At least this is how I feel. I don't know this for a fact. This is my opinion. I'm saying that right off. My opinion. Petro knew all along that he did not want to stay in St. Louis. He told St. Louis he did because he had three young children that were 2 or 3 years old, 2 years old at the time. Remember his triplets. They were born just before the Cup. I think they were a year old at the Cup, so they were probably 3 years old at this point. 2 or 3 years old, and he didn't want to be moving his family in the middle of a season. So he tells him he's going to sign. Then when all the COVID stuff comes down, you have all the COVID stuff. Then when the season comes up, then he starts talking about this no movement clause. Well, the thing with the no movement clause is you knew right away Armstrong's not signing one. Why would you invoke that if you knew it was never going to get it? Then Armstrong offers a modified no movement clause, and he won't take it. He was never signing here. That's player one. That's how I feel about the Petro situation. Right? Krug is our quarterback on the power play. That's the main reason we have him as the power play playmaker. And I can see that. Right? Unfortunately, I'm not going to bring Daddy Patty on. I have my reasons. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to put it out there. I'm people that I bring on the show now, I need to make 100% sure want to be here and need to be here. So if you don't think I know Blues hockey, that's fine. You're more than welcome to say what you want to say. But, that's how I feel, and that's my opinion. Right? Kane. Let's talk about Kane before we go away. He's still not signed. Wendy, you talked a little bit before about what you thought. But you want to go a little bit over that more? What you think he's going to do?
So, all the reports are showing that Kane's waiting until the season, closer to the season, if not into the season, to sign, because he's wanting to rehab his hip, and he's already showing video of him rehabbing by taking slap shots off the fake ice and working on his skating already on almost one of the skate treadmills. But it sounds like Kane is willing to be patient and willing to wait it out to find the right suitor, right team to go to work out a contract. That's where it sounds like with Patrick Kane.
There's going to be a lot of Hoffmans in this year coming towards the season. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, professional tryouts.
Hoffman came to St. Louis on a 10-day professional tryout. They brought him in 10 days before the season. So a professional tryout ended on the last day and the first day that they could put guys on LTIR to bring him in. I see Kane and others doing that. I could see Tarasenko doing that, to be honest.
I will add to it, I don't think Kane will try a PTO. I think he will sign a contract over a PTO, but that's my opinion. I will say that flat out. I honestly think he will rather sign a contract where he knows he has the money and cash flow going in, rather than take a PTO, risk it, and not be officially.
When Hoffman came to St. Louis on the PTO, I think a contract was already there. Okay? I think the contract was already there, everything but being inked, because they didn't have the money to ink them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They would have been over the salary cap. They told him, here's what you're going to get, do your tryout, and we'll go from there. Now, you do take a risk doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Journey, that's not here. That's neither here nor there, bud. I think that's what's going to happen. And then a lot of times, you know, that the teams can, and I think they can. I don't know this for sure, but I think when a player comes in on a PTO, they can insure the player still.
I think they can, but I'm not 100% sure.
Because I'm just thinking of regular labor law. Right?
Yeah.
You bring some, let's say that you go to a job site, Wendy, and a job site, a construction site, and they say, we want you to spend a day working for, a tryout. While you're there, you get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
That company's responsible for your pain, right? They're responsible to take care of you.
Yeah.
So to me, the same thing has to happen on a PTO.
It probably will. I'm not 100% sure on the PTO side of a contract if on signing one. I'm not 100% sure because, to be quite honest, not many. You don't see like the bigger name players signing those PTOs. It's the players who are just trying to keep their NHL career alive.
Usually, but the flat cap has forced. This is what Hoffman did. And Hoffman could be considered one of those bigger players, not somebody just trying to get on a roster.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Hoffman couldn't get the $6 million because there was a flat cap. The money wasn't out there. And that's what I think is going to happen. Craig Moss says, I think Hoffman and Perron are two of your three. You're absolutely correct. I don't want to go there. Hoffman and Perron is one of my other two. The third one, a lot of people disagree with me on this one. Some people disagree with me with Perron, but I'm still going to stick with. But my third one is Schwartz. Schwartz, absolutely, positively, fucked the Blues over, and the league let him do it. That is dead set. Well, what the PTO does, here's the thing about the PTO. The PTO allows you to practice with that team for 10 days, not count against the salary cap. Got to understand that's the thing with that PTO is it doesn't count against the salary cap. Whatever they're paying them for the PTO, they're not rostered. It doesn't go on the salary cap. I'm sure they get paid, right? I'm pretty sure they get paid. They're trying to get a contract. But that PTO, in Hoffman's case, it allowed him 10 days to practice, knowing he was going to sign as soon as because we had Steen. That's when Steen retired. So as soon as Steen retired, that money comes off the books. Now, the way that money comes off the books, there's two different ways. There's preseason LTIR, and then there's season LTIR. Preseason LTIR, not all of that counts. Not all of that counts. You don't get all that money back. Post-season LTIR, you get all of that money back. So it's very important. You are correct. Neil did have and then Neil spent a couple of games with the Blues. They sent him down, and he never came back up. So that's what I'm thinking about with some of these guys, some of these bigger names that are out there. I think they're just going to work out, wait, and see what happens. Because right now, the teams that have the money are the teams that these guys don't want to go play for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the thing, Craig. If those players love the coach so much, why would they do the things that they did? Why would they do that? If they love the coach and love the team so much, like they said, why would they do things that hurt the team? And they all three did. All three of them. That's my point. And I think there's other clues out there that there's a dissension with the coach. And that's just my opinion, and I'll leave it at that. I don't want to get into it. What a good show tonight. Sorry, guys, sorry if you got talked over tonight. Wendy, I know you for a while there you didn't get to talk. I do apologize. I hope you're okay with that. Right? You knew what we were doing, though, right?
Yeah, I knew what you guys were talking about. I was fine with not saying anything.
Okay, and I just, I try and get everybody involved. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have favorite followers on Blues Twitter. I haven't been using Twitter a lot. I did sign up for the new one. What's it called?
Thread.
Thread. I did sign up for Thread. It's Hawaii_Blues_fan. And it's basically my Instagram account, right? So that's why it's that. I wanted to change it, but I can't.
I think you could change your Instagram account name.
I might look at that and see if I can change that. But to me, I kind of backed off Twitter. I have 1,600 followers, which isn't a lot. But like when I put stuff out, I get nothing. Nothing gets stated on it. My show never gets forward. Very rarely. I know Shaggy retweets my show. I know Shaggy puts stuff out. I know Shaggy retweeted the article I wrote today. Did you read it, Shags?
I did not get to it. It's actually bookmarked for my bedtime story.
Okay, well, you might enjoy it then.
Okay. I'll tell you when I'm on Twitter, the one thing I really do appreciate, and this is something I like a lot, is I enjoy when people put out legitimately great questions or legitimately great articles that are not long. I enjoy when you get to read something and you go or ask or like have a great discussion with a guy. And that's what Twitter was made to be. You know what I mean?
Originally, yeah.
That's what it was made to be. I've had some very interesting discussion, but you know what I mean? This is something where, people ask me, if you would ask me the same question, who my favorite Twitter followers are, I would tell you I don't have a favorite. I used to have a podcast and I was involved, and I could tell you like certain guys I could tell you to go after. But now that I'm not doing a podcast and I'm not really in a sense connected to really any company or anything, I can't tell. I just follow guys who are Ranger fans, and if you constantly say things like the Rangers stink or whatever it is, I stop following you. I don't like negativity.
Yeah. I'm both ways. I don't mind the negativity. I mean, I understand it, but I mean, the guys that I I mainly follow guys that don't like me, believe it or not. I follow Rutherford. I follow Coric. Coric can't stand me. Absolutely cannot stand me. Lou Coric does not like me. That's fine. But he's good. He puts out stuff. I have him tagged. I did follow Jim Thomas. Jim Thomas retired. Matt DeFranks, who replaced him, could be on the show soon. I've reached out to him. He's reached back. We're working on something. The lady that does Locked On Blues, I may get her. I've been talking to her. So I'm trying to get the show, get more interviews on the show. I'm trying to get more players on the show. I'm doing what I can, but I'm also trying, maybe I got to stop wearing this stuff on my show. I don't know, but it is what it is. Whatever reason, I don't hate anybody. I don't have any negativity about anybody. You have a position that I envy. I would love to be a beat reporter for the Blues. I'm not at the moment. Hopefully someday I will be, but I'll just keep writing my articles. My articles, and I will be honest, are a cross between news and opinion, commentary. Because that's what I think a great article is. I think a great article points out the facts, but doesn't take away from how the writer feels. And that's how I write. I think if anything, if you've read any of my stuff, you could say that that's exactly how I write. Right? Would you agree there, Shags?
Yeah, I mean, I happen to be very into writing. I have 2 books I actually started writing. I don't know if I'll ever finish them, but the main thing when you write in general in an article with opinion is to first put in facts, and then lay out your opinion, and then sum it up. And the most important part of the sum up is to make sure that you lay out the fact that your opinions are your opinions, and the facts are the facts. And I know I didn't write many articles when I was with Inside the Rink, but I wrote one which was a grading on players, and some of them I'm sure people would not agree with, but I had my opinions, and it was stated specifically that these were the way I looked at it. If you felt differently, I would be very happy to hear comments of why you're not feeling that way. That's called a sports discussion. That's not called a fight. That's not called I'm saying something stupid. It's not called I'm wrong. That's my opinion. See, that's where the world went really crazy, in which people can't just have opinions. You need that whatever my opinion is. Some people like it that's fact. I don't look at my opinion as facts. I look at my opinion as my opinion. You have to look at it and respect other people's opinions, and you have to look at it like that. And yes, there are opinions out there that are crazy and maybe don't deserve respect. I'm not here to fight them. You want to discuss it, we technically could discuss it. I'm not here to fight them. So I'll write in my article, I'll write facts that everyone will agree with or that is coming from a good source. I'll write my opinions, and then it's up to discussion. I found that that's one of the reasons that sports radio has gone to a stupid end, is because many guys are going out there and just saying, when guy says a strong take, it's an actual opinion that I think he believes in. When I hear some of these sports guys actually say what some things they say, I think they literally do not hear the words that are coming out of their mouth, because I hear some of these comments and I go, what are you? I look at some of these Bleacher Report things and I just don't see it. You see all these different things going, these different like articles, and you read them, who's like the top 10 teams and stuff like that. And I go, man, that's not everyone's opinion. And some of those are very bad ideas. But yeah, you need to make sure that, yeah. I think Jason's going through something.
Yeah. No. And I appreciate that. I try and write from my heart, and I try and write facts, but I also try and put me into it. And that's how I write. That's the article I wrote today about going to the first Blues game against the Vegas Golden Knights in Vegas. That's what the article's about. Give it a read. I think at last look, I had less than 60 views, I think it was. Let me take a quick double take here. Full Press isn't great at updating on views, but the last I looked, it had about 81 views. You know, give it a read. Try and kick it up there. I think the best I've done on them is 1,300 views. I'd like to get it to. That's an article that I'd like to get read. You know, it's similar to the Haley article I wrote, and it's similar to the, if you read that one before, and it's also similar to the Warriors article I wrote, which I may rewrite a new Warriors article. I may reach out to those guys, write something for Full Press. Jack, you might want to get in touch with Jim about Full Press. I think you would be good on Full Press.
You know what? The problem I have is that I don't know my timing. The hard thing I have is that I don't know when I'm available, when I'm not available. Between school and
they're not as stuck on it as Inside the Rink is.
I mean, I would love. I always wanted to do a podcast and stuff. I just don't like. One of the reasons why I enjoyed what I did originally was because I enjoyed being the co-host.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I even came to Guy in general is because I don't enjoy being the main guy. I enjoy being the side guy. I just enjoy that the main guy is someone that looks at me like just another great guy to talk to, like Guy does, instead of looking at him as, yo, you're just my co-host. So I'm not really interested in doing all the, making sure it gets put out and all that, and making sure it gets on all these different things. And it's a lot of work and editing and stuff like that for a podcast. I'm not interested in all that hard work. I'd rather just be the guy coming on and having a good time talking sports. Writing sports in a different sense, that maybe, is a great thing to do. But maybe I'll think about that for the Rangers.
Yeah, this is not an easy thing to do, right? No. I know, like what Wendy does. Wendy, I love what you do, and congratulations on 1,000 subscribers, man. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. Somewhat, I think YouTube may have glitched again, and it's already back down to what it was at before it hit 1,000. So we'll see if it's actually get back to 1,000. I will say we actually hit 1,000 just because I have proof that we did hit it. But the last time I checked, it did go back down to what? I'm sorry, man. It's all good. It's fine. All I say with my YouTube channel, my channel isn't about me. The channel is not made by me. The people who make it are honestly the people who subscribe and view to it. Because honestly, how I do my channel, it's basically been a hobby since July 12th, 2018 at this point. I've been doing this.
You started 3 months before me, and you've blown by me. I only have like 600 and something followers on YouTube, so
you're up to 696.
I'm at I'm almost at 700. Ooh! Right? I've stagnated.
There has to be someone in this chat here who's not subscribed to you on your YouTube channel. Come on, guys. Get Guy to that 700 right now.
Right. So here's the article. 2017 Blues game number 9, hockey journey. Please give it a read.
Could you give us an audio book of this one?
No. Right. Please give it a read. I greatly appreciate it. I did get a new subscriber, so thank you, Wendy. So I'm at 798 or 698. Right.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting that this entire off season, although there's like a million moves going on, I feel like every move that we felt was going to be made went somewhere else. I do not think there was a move that was like, yeah, so he's going here. Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Everything was like Bertuzzi landing up on the Maple Leafs to me was like, what? I did not.
That came out of left field. Yeah, I did not expect it.
I did not expect that. I mean, even in my mind, Toffoli going to the Devils was crazy. Did not think that was either. I thought Toffoli even to the Hurricanes was more possible. There was a lot of things that was really crazy. But this has been one of the best, I think, off seasons for hockey because I think things have really evened out. And I know that Guy and Wendy, you may not believe that the Blackhawks will be a good team. But I will tell you. I think
they're going to challenge for a playoff spot.
No, but Guy, I'm gonna tell you something about young and annoying hockey teams. And I see the word annoying because I'll tell you like this. The Yankees right now are fighting behind the Orioles. The Orioles are really, really young. Okay.
Uh-huh.
They bring up a prospect every single day. One of the things that I also noticed is the Athletics are the worst team probably in baseball. They also seem to beat some good teams and play really well sometimes, and they play well. Okay. And one of the things you have to know about young and exciting teams is when I watched Coyotes games last year, as much as they lost a lot of games because they don't have the talent, they were scrappy, they were annoying, they were fast. You couldn't look past them. They put some very good teams to big tests. It's legitimately something that you have to be like, it's legitimately something you have to be worried about. And if you look at hockey right now, it's been enough of an even out core that I think that the Blackhawks, you can't rule them out. There are other teams that I think are in worse situations because of the fact that they don't have that even. The Blues, in my opinion, might be in a harder situation because they actually are not sure maybe where they are with a coach that we don't know what he is, while you have a Blackhawks team that knows they're rebuilding and you're fighting to be able to play time. Well, on the Blues, I think they're still stuck in the middle. You got some vets, you got some young rookies, you don't know you're bringing up, you're going down. Are you rebuilding? Are you keeping Berube? You're not.
No, I'm with you. I'm absolutely dead on with you there. Right?
I can see where you're coming from there. Hell, it looks like they might be back in the classic 21,000 fans are back in the United Center because it looks like how season tickets went for the Hawks. Tickets sold. And I could see the Hawks just come out playing young, stupid hockey where they end up getting those wins. But the one thing with it, I don't know with the team. They're going to be fun to watch. They just have too many holes on the roster to actually be truly contending to climb the standings. That's where I'm at with it. I think they end up maybe with 60. I'll give my early season point give out. I would say 68 points at the end of the season is what they end up with, which is almost 10 more points than what they had last season.
I want to address this real quick. First of all, I do not like Daddy Padre. I have an issue with Daddy Padre. It's not that I don't like him. I like the guy fine. But I know he says he broke the Hayes trade. I don't know if that's true because I saw other tweets about the Hayes trade before I saw his. I'd have to go look at timing. That's where I'm at. More points, Perry or Fogliano?
I will say more points will belong to Corey Perry, but the points are going to be pretty close. I will give Perry 3 more points than Foligno.
I'll go opposite. I think Corey Perry is going to have 8 less points than Foligno.
Okay.
I could see both of them being. I could see him being real close. I mean, I could see him be real close.
I could see Corey Perry having more goals than Foligno, but less points.
Okay,
I could see that too.
I do believe that Corey Perry is going to be a little slower, and he's playing with a bunch of fast young players. And as much as I think that he's going to do what he does, he's going to get the goals because he is a vet and he's got fantastic IQ by hockey. But he's not going to be like Foligno's amazing, passing and stuff. So I got to say like this. I have, and I don't know where I put it. I put it down when it came to Bedard. The fact that I think that he's going to have not the craziest year. I think that he'll have a pretty good year. I just do believe that as much as we love what he is, I think you'll see a lot of highlights. You know what I mean?
I could see Bedard having less than 50 points, to be honest.
I know
a lot of people think I'm nuts.
I think I have him at 48 points and like 17 goals. That's where I have him. I think he's going to use a lot more. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch on the break because I think he's going to be great in the on I don't know what they call that, the rush. Sorry, the odd man rush.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be great to watch because you're going to notice that one thing. I started looking at Bedard a little bit. I started looking a little more film because just for fun, I've been bored. There's nothing going on. He's pretty good at, getting that puck around teammates. And I think you're going to notice that Bedard is more special when it comes to passing that puck and getting that puck around. You're going to be seeing a guy like Zegras. We always loved his shot, but I always say the problem with Zegras is his other parts of this hockey game are not finished.
The problem with Zegras is there's nobody with him. There's nobody with him
but he played with some decent players. Okay, you got to give it that he played with some decent players. He's played on a pretty good line, by the way. Okay, and
Kako, over or under 45 points this season? Under. I'm with you.
Whoa. First of all, I think Kako will be more of a I think
third line guy.
Good. No. I think he'll be a consistently positive player. I just don't think that he's going to have the points to show for it. I think he'll have 45 points probably with like 14 goals. I think he'll get a nice amount of assists and stuff, but you're not going to see him going off. He's going to be on that third line automatically. I don't see him on that first two lines, so he's not going to get the advantage maybe to get more points. I have him probably at around. I'll give him 38 points with 14 goals. Sammy Blake over under 15 goals. You're going to think I'm nuts. I think he gets 17 goals with only 30 out with 41 points.
I'm under. I'm under with that. I really do. I mean, you look at his career. And he actually scored more goals in a time with the Blues than he did his entire career. So, I mean, could he do more? Yes, but I don't see it yet. I don't see him breaking out, especially with this team. I just don't see this team having anybody break out. Where do I see Kyrou this year? I see Kyrou. God, I'm going to get tore up here. I actually think that Kyrou on a bad team could push 90 points.
No. Okay, guy. Let's be realistic here. He's gonna get maybe you could tell me 60s or 70s. You can't tell me 90s, and the reason why you can't tell me 90s is because he doesn't have enough talent around him. Even if he drops,
hold on, he'll be on the line. He'll be on the line with Thomas and Buchnevich.
Guy. Let's be realistic. Buchnevich will be out at least 30 games this year. Okay. He's gonna. Come on, guys.
Who will?
I had him in fantasy last year. I know how many times I had him on day-to-day. Okay? Buchnevich is gonna be injured for game after game. He's gonna come back. He's gonna be the best fantasy pickup for our week, and then he'll go back down into his cave. Okay? This is what he was these past couple of years. But if Buchnevich stays healthy and Thomas stays healthy, Kyrou doesn't have more than 72 points.
Journey, it's your comment right there is why I am so cautious about putting guys' comments on the air. Right there. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, comments like that don't deserve to be on my show.
Guy, you got to do timeouts.
Yeah.
No, give him a timeout right now.
Yeah, I
got it.
You just got to do timeouts and just tell people that.
Wendy's a mod for me.
Yeah, but you have to do that constantly. A guy does that, do timeouts. You got to make it more official. That's how people learn to just not play around with you.
Okay, guys, we're gonna call it a show here. It's an hour and a half. Thank you so much. One thing that I want to say before we go, I have said this so much, and I absolutely believe this. The difference between the Boston Bruins, who had the most points in the league ever, right? And
Boston frauds.
Huh?
Boston frauds. I was calling the Bruins the frauds all season last year.
So the Boston Bruins, you had me all confused. So the difference between the Boston Bruins, who were the number one team in the league in regular season, and who was it that was the bottom of the league? The Anaheim Ducks, right?
Yep.
Right.
And the Anaheim Ducks is minuscule. It is minuscule. You take one or two players off of Boston and put them on put them on Anaheim, and you take 2 players from Anaheim and put them on Boston, and the teams are a lot closer together, right? We look at these teams under a microscope, and when we look them under an electron microscope, so we see these teams with having this huge gap, when in all actuality, the gap's not there.
Well, you have to realize, Guy, is that the gap between the best and worst team in baseball, the best and worst team in the NBA, and the best and worst team in football is not like hockey, because hockey is, and I have a friend of mine who doesn't believe hockey is a sport, and I fight with him all the time about it. It's hockey is the most competitive sport, because in order to get a goal, it's not like in basketball where you set a pick and boom, the shot's in.
Yeah. I agree.
It's not like in football where you throw the ball down the field. There's a passing interference. You get the ball at the 2-yard line. You run it in. It's not like in baseball where the guy makes an error and it goes in. It's very, very hard. The goalie, it's not as many holes as possible to get the puck through. You have defensemen who you're allowed to hit. You're allowed to hit as hard as you want. You're not getting a penalty unless you're doing an illegal hit, and you could hit very hard, #Truba, and still not get a penalty. Right?
Absolutely. Right. My thing here is it just comes down to the point that going back to 2019, 3 of the, I think it's 10 teams, 9 teams that have been in the finals, not in the finals after missing the playoffs a year before.
LA 20.
No, I said
LA?
going back to 19.
Okay.
Going back to 19.
So
St. Louis, Montreal, and Vegas all made the finals after missing the playoffs a year before. And 2 of them won the cup. Right? You don't see that in other sports. You do not see that in other sports. Not like it's been lately. And that's why I say the difference between the first place team and the last place team is minuscule. Minuscule. And that's why these guys, these high-priced guys, or these high-talent guys that are still out there, free agents, could make the difference between a team making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. And that's why that PTO that I talked about could become very handy during the preseason. Okay, Wendy, tell everybody about your channel, bud, before we go away.
Well, as I said earlier, we're almost back to 1,000 subscribers. Hit it last night, then dropped back down. I think that's a YouTube glitch there. But that can be found at Windy City Hockey, HAWKEY is spelling. You can now find me on Threads at Windy City Hockey, and on Twitter at WC Hockey. I made it shorter on Twitter for some odd reason because it was easier to do it that way.
Yep, no, I get it. And Shaggy, where can people find you?
Tired. You could find me on Twitter at SCInc_NYR. And you could also find me smashing my head against the wall because Adam Fox did not win Norris.
I didn't see that. I didn't see him winning. I mean, I get he could have.
I'm just telling you, the sport of hockey, if there's 2 big
it needs to. I agree.
That needs to change is that the Norris Trophy has to change, and they have to switch the goalies being allowed to touch the puck, the distance of them being allowed to touch the puck. That's the.
They need to make a defensive defenseman
where do you
award.
think they should? Where do you think they should be allowed to touch the puck?
No, because we discussed throughout the year when they're able to go out of the, let's say, go behind.
Oh, the trapezoid.
Trapezoid. Darren Pang, the great Chicago Blackhawks color guy, had when he said he said this a couple of times, and I really believe him. When they first put that in, he thought the area that you weren't going to be able to touch the puck was in the trapezoid itself, and I agree with that. If you open that up, if you put that to where you've got to be in the wings to touch the puck, oh my goodness, you're going to see a lot more pucks getting thrown. Not the dump and chase, but the pucks getting thrown away. Like I talked about, getting thrown around. Thrown around. You'll see things open up. You will see things open up if that happens.
Hey, Guy, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to be the number one theme this year in hockey? Meaning, what's the common thing that's going to be this year?
The gap between the haves and the have-nots.
Interesting.
The gap between the top 16 and the bottom 16. I think that's going to be talked about a lot. Now, again, that's looking at it under a microscope. But I think that you're going to see, because of the flat cap this year, because of the cap only going up $1 million, not what they expected, where they were hoping for another couple million, that there's too many teams that are cap stuck. That some of these teams on the bottom could move up, or you're going to see these teams on the bottom that didn't spend the money just fall away, and the teams that spent the money take off.
Right.
I think that's going to be a huge thing in the NHL this year. The have and the have-nots. Am I nuts?
Right. No, you're not, because I think that the league, especially with the style of play, is just not – people are just going to look at the Golden Knights and say, you know what? You need just good defensemen and have a fast, good offense. Fast is the word, being able to get back and forth and skate and being able to keep up with other teams and just defensemen that could skate. I mean, look at the defensemen on their team. They were all great skaters.
Any last word there, Windy?
No, I think you guys did it.
Guy that came out very last words. I mean, I was already going like, okay, where's this going?
Well, guys, thanks so much for joining me on the show tonight. We had a good one. Boys, what do I always say?
To all you Blues fans, we're bleeding blue with you. Let's go, Blues! Let's go, Blues! Let's go, Blues!
Aloha and mahalo, and I'll see you all on the next BlueNote Fan Report.